Okay, here we go. Focus. Speed. I am speed. One launch, 126 miles per hour. I eat launches for breakfast. Kingda Ka, that shit is gone. 1 month ago, we made a video discussing the Kingda Ka rumors. In that video, I kind of said that Kingda Ka wasn't going to close anytime soon, and that thought was reinforced in my comment section, where a lot of people were saying Kingda Ka is running better than ever, and it would be a terrible idea to close it. And that was until ElToroRyan came along and said, you shouldn't dismiss the rumors, there might be something happening. It was still all speculation until Coaster Studios started responding to comments on Instagram. Apparently, they have a known source inside the park that has told them that Six Flags Great Adventure is closing Kingda Ka and will not make an official announcement about it. Now, I trust Taylor Bybee a lot less than ElToroRyan, but there's no way he's spreading misinformation on the internet for fun. That's just not him. I think we could be looking at the end of Kingda Ka, or the end of its current state at least. I have no idea what to even think they are building here. A part of me says that since they aren't making an official announcement of its closing, they are planning to improve it in some way, but another half of me is saying that they aren't making an announcement because they don't want to disappoint the last riders by promising them rides. As soon as the next major part breaks on this coaster, it could be done forever. I've seen people talk about B&M Gigas and such, but I honestly have zero clue on what is going to happen next, but it is just really sad to see. This video is not entirely about Kingda Ka, but it is very relevant to this conversation. Speed on coasters is becoming less prominent. With the death of Top Thrill Dragster, Kingda Ka, and the dreary outlook of Formula Rossa, we may just lose our 3 fastest coasters in the world. So in today's video, we're going to count down the 8 fastest coasters in the world, and we'll discuss their future, or in most cases their past, and explore this general trend across the industry. So in what would be the 8th fastest coaster in the world, we have Ring Racer. And Ring Racer was an absolute failure of a coaster. In fact, it's still SBNO at Nürburgring right now, and it has been for over 10 years. So what happened? This was one of many SNS compressed air launch coasters, but it was plagued with problems due to the nature of pushing it to the limit. Ring Racer had an absolutely insane acceleration that was really only beaten by Dodonpa, another very problematic coaster that we'll discuss in this video. This coaster had a lot of issues with its launch system, and when the engineers put it up to full power, it exploded. The coaster was fixed and later opened for 4 days until it was deemed economically unviable. And this is going to become a common trend for the rest of the video. A lot of high-power launch coasters aren't economically viable. The systems used to get high-power launches, which is the Intamin accelerator and the SNS pneumatic launch, are a tad bit unreliable. LSMs are so much better and so much more reliable these days, and it makes sense why we are retrofitting old coasters with them. The next 2 fastest coasters in the world are actually ones that use LSMs, and that is Tower of Terror 2 and Superman Escape from Krypton. Now, both of these coasters are also pretty problematic. Tower of Terror 2 is located at Dreamworld in Australia and had a fine operating life. The park decided to close Tower of Terror 2 in a massive overhaul that came from one of the worst accidents in amusement park history. Now, Superman is also kind of on the chopping block. I would say much less so than Kingda Ka, but it does have its fair share of problems. If you've been to Magic Mountain anytime recently, you know that this coaster never operates and only runs one side if it does. These 2 coasters both use LSM technology, so theoretically they should be more reliable, but they were the first LSMs that were ever used. They were prototype technology and they worked well for what they were worth. They also were pushing the LSMs to its limits. We've yet to see something that is this crazy besides maybe Red Force. I do think they are a little outdated with the more modern forms of LSMs, so that is also why I don't think they are huge successes, and I do have to say I wouldn't be surprised if we lost Superman sometime soon. The next fastest coaster in the world is Dodonpa, and we all kind of know the tragedies of this coaster. I think Dodonpa tried to do too much. It was actually too powerful, and that took away from the ride experience. Like all of their launch coasters, it was costly, but it also had a lot of incidents from riders getting injured. There were 9 separate cases of riders coming off with broken bones, so I'm surprised it managed to operate past the first handful of cases, let alone 9. That's insane. Anyways, Dodonpa had the fastest acceleration in the world, and it was an extremely ambitious marvel of engineering. It sucks that we don't have it anymore today, and it's for sure on its way out. But that's what happens when you push coasters to its limits. The demo process is complicated because it goes over the whole park, but they are actively working on it. When I was there, they were removing it, and they still are to this day. The 5th fastest coaster in the world is the only coaster I would say that is perfectly safe from any removal, and that is Red Force. Now let's talk about why Red Force is successful, and honestly I think it comes down to the use of modern LSM technology. LSMs are so reliable compared to basically any other type of launch, so it makes sense that it works well here. The scale that LSMs are used here is also insane, and I don't think it changes the ride experience that much. I can't talk from experience, but I have seen the 3 Intamin tower coasters be ranked interchangeably. Statistically, it's slower, shorter, and has less acceleration, so yeah, that's where LSMs suffer. I have heard people say that LSMs have the capability to launch up Kingda Ka's tower, but I don't know that as a fact. LSMs can go virtually anywhere, so they could put it on vertical sections of the tower as well. LSMs are also becoming increasingly more powerful, with coasters like Atlantis Adventure and TMNT Shellraiser having insanely powerful launches. I do think LSMs are the future because of reliability, but they lack the raw power that other launches have. The next fastest coaster in the world is Top Thrill Dragster, and we all know what happened with this coaster. Intamin accelerators are very expensive to run, and one at this scale is even more costly. It had part problems, it had reliability problems, probably from the part problems, it just had a lot of problems and costed a lot of money. Zamperla kind of failed when adding a backward spike and an LSM swing launch, but I am confident that they can right their wrongs next year. It only operated for 8 days before closing due to mechanical issues. I really hope this does not become a ring racer situation, because I do want to ride this coaster in my life. I wouldn't say its future is trending downwards, it's just a little uncertain. This once again shows a trend of LSMs replacing higher cost launches though. The backward spike was mainly added to satisfy the public and make Top Thrill 2 still an icon and a heavy hitter for the park. This is the reason we are losing speed though, LSMs. Now Kingda Ka is the current second fastest coaster in the world, and yes, the rumors may be true. So this is when we talk about the rumors. I feel like my introduction hit all my main points. I still think the tower is going to stand and they will do a Top Thrill Dragster treatment, but who knows. I hope that even if they get rid of Kingda Ka, they keep the tower for Zumanjaro, because that is a great drop tower. Now the question is, will this ride close in the next few weeks? I give it till the end of the season. It doesn't usually operate during holiday nights, so that is literally in 2 more weeks. That is why in 2 weeks, me and Darren are making the trip up to go ride Kingda Ka. So here is a very subtle trip announcement. You're only going to this park and maybe one other. You can expect the vlog sometime in probably January. We have a lot of catching up to do. Now I have ridden this coaster, but Darren hasn't, so fingers crossed it will be open. Sometimes Kingda Ka just does Kingda Ka things, and if my hypothesis is somewhat correct, we could be riding it in the last few days of operations. I feel like ElToroRyan does a great job at explaining why Kingda Ka could close, and it's just money. These coasters are so expensive and they need so much special attention that at one point it is just no longer worth it. According to ElToroRyan, this ride costs somewhere around $1 million a year to maintain, and that is a lot of money that can be going to literally anything else. Also with the merger, Cedar Fair has shown they will alter iconic coasters, so I don't think Kingda Ka is safe. It's sad to see, but I kind of agree with it. Now the second fastest coaster in the world is Formula Rossa, and here was an interesting one. This coaster has operated with some problems, but nothing crazy since its opening in 2010, but now it's SBNO. The rumor is that the launch cable snapped and damaged a bunch of track. The park released a not very optimistic statement, basically saying, "We won't promise an opening date, but we will let you know if it ever happens." This coaster is basically in pieces right now. The launch track is completely gone, so I wouldn't say the future is bright, but I guess they are working on this coaster in one way or another. So I said Formula Rossa was the second fastest coaster in the world because it will be when Falcon's Flight opens, and we really need to talk about this coaster. Falcon's Flight is absolutely insane. It is the one reason why this video could be completely irrelevant. But let's be honest, this is a case of an engineering marvel being funded by oil money. This is not a practical approach to any type of theme park in the world, pretty much ever. The speed on this coaster is also a byproduct of the height, which is not something that parks can do for cheap. That's why launches exist. So I don't think Falcon's Flight takes away from the argument that speed is dying in coasters just because it is not something that will be replicated over and over again. If Formula Rossa never reopens and Kingda Ka closes, we essentially lost all high-power launches. With LSMs taking over, air-compressed launches are our only hope for huge impact launches. LSMs can still be very punchy, but they can't replicate the feeling of an accelerator coaster. I don't really see this as a bad thing though, I just see this as the industry moving in a more positive direction. It is sad to see, but it is implementing new and better technology, and that is just how the world works. Sure, it doesn't satisfy our coaster enthusiast dreams, but it makes a lot more sense from a park standpoint, a safety standpoint, and just a general guest standpoint because we want the coasters to be open, and that's why I think we're gonna see the death of speed without the amusement industry. You could do so much more, and you don't need to go 100+ miles per hour to do it. So that's all for today's video, guys. Let me know if you agree with my decisions in the comment section down below. As always, make sure to like and subscribe, join the Discord, link in the description. I'll see you in the next one. Have a great rest of your day. Goodbye.